We are here with Eva Mendes, actress, businesswoman, and so many other things. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Alex.
So you have done so many things in your career, from film to more traditional forms of entrepreneurship, but I want to start kind of at the beginning. You were born in Miami, grew up in LA.
Yeah.
What about being in those spaces and growing up in those places impacted you, your interests, and ultimately your career in Hollywood?
I don't know. I think it was my mom really who was we were very, very lower middle class background. My mom struggled a lot. She wasn't a single mom, but she she could have had a little more help. And she always told me, she said, freedom is when you make your own money. She said, that's what you have to do. You have to figure out how to make your own money. And ever since I was little, I've just been hearing that. And I saw kind of the trap she was in a way, with my father. I love my dad too. I don't want to, but he was the breadwinner of the family, and her not being that for a while, she just always encouraged me to do that. And then she started working, so she spent my childhood with me. Thankfully, I was home with her a lot, but she would always do like odd, like really cool side hustle jobs. Like if it was like Easter, she'd make Easter baskets and sell them to like the block. And, she would do amazing little things like that. So she was always showing me like the value of working and having your hustle on, until she actually started, she started working at a bank when I was like 11. It's just been her support, I think.
You were discovered in your 20s and you started acting around that time. What can you tell me about those early experiences? Was acting something you had always wanted to do? Was it a surprise to you to get into that?
No, I really just, I mean, to sound crude, I just wanted to make money and be financially independent. And I realized at a certain point that certain people reacted to me in a certain way, and I was like, huh, like a big enough of a ham to just go for anything. And I feel like I wasn't even aware that I could even make money as an actress, and then that failing was even an option. Like I didn't even care about it. I was just like, wait, is this an avenue I could potentially go down? And I did. I'm making it sound simple. It is not. It's very I mean, it's simple, but it's difficult. It's not easy. But anyway, I started studying acting, and then I started getting great opportunities. But I started creating a love of the craft, but I still never loved being in front of the camera. I loved studying about the background of the character and what they want in a scene and breaking down a scene. That's all still exciting to me. But once I got in front of the camera, to this day, it's like I never really loved anything.
Yeah. In your first, few roles and your first experiences being on set, being in front of the camera, what were some expectations versus reality of what it meant to be an actor?
I don't know. Funny, it's a great question, because I really just went back to one of my first big jobs, and I had to be like 26, and I was on a big set. And I thought, why are they just so nice to only the actors? I thought it was a kind of like bullshit. And there was kind of this like, I don't know, this hierarchy on set that I never quite understood. So I thought it would be more of like a camaraderie. And it is, but I still don't like the kind of like, I don't know if hierarchy is the right word, but I just don't feel like, actors should be treated any more special or not. I mean, I guess it's, Anyway, so that was my big thing. I was like, why is everyone so nice to me? Why can I be like a little late, but that person can't be, or,
Yeah.
So.
When you started acting and you were getting, many starring roles and you were really building your career, did you envision yourself acting for the rest of your life? Was it like a means to an end? Was it to get other opportunities? What was kind of your future goal when you really started thriving in this industry?
My future goal was to buy my mother a house, to buy myself a house once I started acting, and to just put money into the bank and it was one of those things that like I had an overall like idea, but I didn't share it with anybody. Like I didn't talk about my goals. I didn't talk about like my objectives. I was just like, this is what I want to do, and I want to make sure that I not only knock on every door, but like peek through every door, like bang down some doors. Like, what else can I do? I was never just like, oh, I'm this actress and I'm now this. No, I was just like, what else? What can I do? What,
Yeah.
I'm here now. So what else can I do? So I was always looking for opportunity.
What were some lessons that you learned in those early parts of your career that you feel like have served you through both acting, through things like design, through things like being a co-owner of a business?
Yeah.
What are some of those lessons that you feel like have served you?
Some of the lessons, first of all, a great lesson I learned early on was like nothing's personal. Like
Mhm.
if they don't want you for the role, it's not that they don't want you for it. You're not right for it. There's so many other like there's so many variables that go into like hiring somebody for a role. And at first, the first couple of years, I was young and I took it very personally. And then I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I can't drive myself crazy. And I have to just know that it's not personal. So that really freed me
Mhm.
because once I felt like it's not personal, that's when I didn't have a fear of failing. And I don't have a fear of failing. I have a fear of not trying. And that's my fear. It's like, I hate regret. I rather sit and like, oh, well, that didn't work out than like, oh, I wonder if that would have worked out.
You have had success in many genres in the acting space. What would you say has been your favorite role that you have ever played?
Working with Ryan Gosling as an actor, like when we worked together, he was just uh, so giving as an actor, and I realized that if you work with with such a great talent, that it gave me like less to do in a way. Like I was so present. I've never been more present in a role than that role.
What would you say has been your most challenging role that you've played?
The roles I found most challenging was when I was like involved in a very male heavy cast. I found that to be challenging because I'm such a girl's girl and I need that female like energy around me. So those were the most challenging one. It really wasn't about what I was doing in a scene. It was more about like who I was surrounded with. Cause like I walk away from a film or a project having my own experiences of it, right? I was 6 months and, wherever I was. And so I see the film as its own thing. And then I have my own memory of it, experience of it. So that's obviously invaluable. So it hasn't always been as pleasant as I've wanted it to be, but I've been really lucky that I haven't had it bad. I haven't had it
Mhm.
in that way. I just need women around me. So
Yeah, it makes a big difference who you're surrounded by on the
it's
day to day.
yes. When I'm in a vulnerable position, whether it's getting dressed in costume or I'm hair and makeup, I'm just like women around.
Yeah,
So
I totally understand that. I want to ask about your decision to step away from Hollywood and from the acting industry. You played your last role in 2014. When you decided to take a break, was that an intentional decision to stop for an extended period of time? Was it going to be just a short break? Where was your mind when you decided to take a step back?
I don't really remember exactly where it was, but I do feel like that I got pregnant around that time. My ambition was still there. It just was suddenly directed like towards something else. Like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, this is where all my focus became my home. It was just like my kids, Ryan, the home. And just that's where I derived my joy. And it also is where, I just naturally went into. So that's when I started searching for things I could do really from home.
Mhm.
And this is where I think my mom's like early years of like hustling, making the Easter baskets for everybody or, decorating tiny Christmas trees to sell around the block. Like I think that's where I just started doing my version of that. And it was before like remote, like, before Zooms or anything like that. But I was now looking back, especially looking back now, that's when I started designing for New York and Company,
Mhm.
which was really just a great time. I did that for about 7 years and through my two pregnancies. And that was incredible. I would design from home, be on the, computer, meet up every, a few days a month. And it was just a really ideal job for me because I stayed creative and I love connecting with women. I love it. It's just like making something that a woman can enjoy, specifically a woman, like a dress, a pantsuit, whatever it is. I was really fulfilled while I was doing that.
hmm I want to talk a bit about your experience as a mother and kind of how you found those other creative outlets or other things that you
Hmm.
became passionate about. I heard in another interview you mentioned that becoming a mother was the most creative thing that you had ever done. Can you
Yeah,
talk a bit about that? I think that's such a new and interesting concept. I think that many people don't
thanks.
think about motherhood as being creative, but you have to be. So I'd love to know more about that experience.
It's so creative. It's literally the most creative thing you could do. You're creating a life. And it doesn't stop with just creating the life and then they're here. It's like every day you create. You create together, you create for them, whether it's what you're going to make them to eat, whether it's how you're going to entertain them or while you're working and what you're going to do. And then obviously those are the little things and then it's like, well, creating a life together. I also think that, relationships, I mean, that's just like, it's so beautiful to be able to create with a partner. I find the whole process just so innately creative.
hmm And I love too that you mentioned that you really got inspired and interested in what you were doing around the house, which is very related to the
Mhm.
company that you are now co-owner of, Skura
Yes,
Style.
yes.
Walk me through your decision to join the cleaning industry and
Yeah.
to be part of a product company. When I was talking with the co-founders, they mentioned that you got in touch with them after being a customer yourself. So I'd love to know more
Mhm.
about why you decided to reach out and what made you interested in joining this company in the first place.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love the product. I found a product that I love, which is their Fade to Change sponge. Cleaning for me and for my family, my sisters, my mom, it's not just cleaning. It's a really it's an emotional bonding experience. Like my mother will come to my house till this day. She can barely walk. She goes straight to the sink, bless her heart. And even if there's like one cup, she'll start. And I didn't know if that was a Cuban thing or a Latin thing. I wasn't sure, but it's just such a thing for us. And we bond over it, especially in the kitchen, especially doing the dishes. During the pandemic, I was probably like most people going crazy and I was like washing my fruit, which I'm sure I did more harm than good. But I was going through a bunch of different cleaning products and I came across this sponge, this Skura Style sponge. And I was like, oh, that's cool for a sponge. It just looked different. It wasn't like some like horrible looking thing. It was pretty. So that caught my eye because I love design and I love anything. I love making anything beautiful. But yeah, I started using it and I loved it. So I got in contact with the founders and I loved their story. They've been best friends, Linda and Allison. I'm sure they told you have been best friends since they've been kids. They I mean, they're still best friends. Their kids are the same age. I mean, they're BFF dreams. And I really feel like I don't I connected with them obviously, and I just thought there's something here. There's something. I love this product, and I see something here. I don't know. I didn't. I just saw. I'm trying to describe what it is, but it's that feeling of like I'm not sure what it is, but let's keep in touch. And then it just kind of progressed and it just became obvious that I was like, I have so many ideas. I love this product. And, I started realizing that I was talking about product development and, all these different things and marketing. And I was like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
I need to be involved. And again, two women. So I felt very, very comfortable.
That's what I was going to ask you. They are two female co-founders, and speaking, from your acting experience, really loving being involved in female-led sets or, those sorts of things. How do you describe your relationship with the two of them and with the Skura team? What does that like female founder space mean to you?
Female founder space. It is just not only is it fun, because it's just fun. I love, connecting to that with them and talking, but like it's the little things. Like when I make a Zoom and I'm a few minutes late, but I'm calling them from my mobile office in my car, and I just have and my my kids in class and I'm trying to make it happen and I'm a disaster, but I know what I have, I did the work. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to explain, but it's those moments where I become very like frazzled and really stressed out and, the kid and here and this and then the other, and they're just like, totally get it. There's no question. There's no doubt on their end that, it's just like, wow, to have to explain yourself. I don't know. I feel like that's great. They know exactly what I'm talking about when I was like, or like all I have to say is, hey guys, my little one's sick right now, and they're just like, oh my God, do we not? We know about that, and those things make for a more supportive
Hmm.
workplace.
Definitely.
I'm the kind of person that I need to feel supported or through love, or else I tend to like, I don't know. Some people like a great challenge, and I like a challenge, of course, but I still need it rooted in like love and support,
Hmm.
if that makes
It totally
sense.
does, yeah. From a product development side of
Mhm.
things, what makes Skura so different from what exists on the market today? I mean, you mentioned earlier the design is something that most sponges aren't pretty, but what
Yes.
else makes these products so special?
Well, specifically the sponge, there's nothing like it. The fade to change technology is just, it's incredible. The fact that we have, you know, the actual monogram fade as the sponge reaches its limit lets you know that, okay, it's time to throw out and change out your sponge, because, sponges are 200,000 times dirtier than our toilet seats. I'm sure you've heard that. Everyone's heard that. And it's true, and it's obviously disgusting. So you're cleaning with something filthy. So anyway, it lets you know, it does the thinking for you. It lets you know when it's time to throw out. So that to me was so genius, and that was huge for me. And again, I love beautiful things. So the fact that it was, something pretty and it wasn't your usual, like, it's not your mama sponge. And then also, obviously loving the other products, the scouring pad, the drying towel. I'm big with drying towels because I still lay out my towel. Oh, I only do dishes by hand, by the way. I have very the dishwasher. I could store toilet paper in there. I never use it. Anyway, I fell in love with all the products, and I saw so much potential. And again, trying to link fashion, style, beauty, color, and trying to elevate the kitchen and bring joy, because that's a place where I derive so much joy from.
Mhm.
So much joy. Just when my kitchen is clean, when my sink is clean, there's something, I don't know. There's got to be other people. It sounds like you feel this too. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh, it's just,
Can breathe.
you can breathe and it feels so good. Of course, when my house is clean, and I just get so much joy from it. So I have such an emotional connection to the product, and the product is just a superior product than what's on the market today.
Mhm.
The other thing that I found really exciting was that right now, before us, there hasn't been a woman in the aisle. There's Mr. Clean and there's Sponge Daddy. And I'm just like, how has it gone on this long that there hasn't been a woman in the aisle? So that also was a huge driving force. I was like, I've got to be a part of this and take
Yeah.
this next level.
That is super special. You came on as a co-owner in 2022, and now in your, relationship with the co-founders, what really is your role in the company? What are the things that you are offering? Why were you a good fit for them as they were for you?
My role in the company, it varies,
Mhm.
but mostly it's about product development, connecting to the customer, really listening to the customer, bringing in my love of design, bringing in my love of trying to elevate spaces. And, I feel like it's one of those things, like I feel like I'm part of a Broadway show where it's anything. Like sometimes if you're part of a cast or part of a show, whether you need to get someone coffee or you need to actually like help paint something, like that's what I feel like, in this beautiful collaboration, because we're such a small company and we kind of like all, do it all.
Mhm.
And I find that really exciting because we're in it and we're still building it, which is really fun.
Yeah. I know that you have a collection coming out with
Yeah.
the company that you designed yourself. Can you walk me through that process a bit? What was the behind the scenes of coming up with that idea and then really bringing it into tangible products?
Well, I love color. I love color. I love pattern. And, I have these beautiful images of Cuba in my house. I'm Cuban. I'm first generation. My parents are Cuban. And I have these beautiful images of the buildings. And I know it's a bittersweet thing because the conditions in Cuba are just, obviously won't go into that, but there is a beauty in the colors. And I just have these images in my head and I see them around, and I was just like, I need a color palette. I need something that reflects what brings me joy.
Mhm.
And the colors in the design in my new collection is exactly that. It's exactly what brings me joy and things that I have in my home, colors. And there's a specific like design I found just very, I don't know, beautiful. And I was like, yeah, I want to make a beautiful sponge. Why not? Like, if you can make a sponge beautiful, I think, everything else, I mean, I don't know.
Elevates the whole kitchen then.
It does. And I like to keep my sponge out. I'm
Mhm.
not one, I don't hide her. I don't put her anywhere else. So I don't know. I like to see her because she's always there for me.
Yeah, definitely. Who are you trying to reach with this brand? Is it moms that are at home cleaning? Is it a different demographic? Who are you really trying to target with these products?
I don't know who I'm trying to target because in that sense, I'm not going after like
Mhm.
anyone specifically or any demo. I just feel like if you have a home, if you have an apartment, whether it's a studio apartment, it's your first thing, it's one room, you've got to do the dishes. Like if you're not doing them, who's doing them for you? And so who's ever doing the dishes needs this product. So
Mhm.
it's one of those things that's like, it's an everybody thing. So I'm
Yeah.
having a lot of fun also just reading the reviews. That's been really interesting for me because I've never read reviews before.
Mhm.
And although I do read some of my comments on like social media and stuff, it's different because you're kind of trained not to. But with reviews, with anything having to do with Skura Style, it's been really connective,
Mhm. How do you determine, based on those reviews, what's going to be next for the company? I know you guys are talking about other products that are coming up and, different expansions and many facets of the brand. How much do those comments and the, customer reviews and the customer engagement, how much does that impact what's next for you guys and the company?
Customer reviews are everything for me. And I read their comments. I read what they want. I read what they don't like. I
Mhm.
love hearing how I can improve upon something, how it's actually getting to you, the box it's getting to you, and whatever it is. I love reading things that people would like improved or that they
Mhm.
need. So that means it's pretty amazing to have like just your customer right there asking you because obviously you want to make them happy.
Mhm.
I want to make them happy. I'm excited about this product. It brings me joy. So it's like, yes, please get it. I'll get so happy off a review. Like, it can really put me in a really great mood. And we win all these really super fun like awards and stuff like that. And I joke around where it's like that's like like winning a good housekeeping award is like my version of the Oscar. So it's
Definitely.
really fun.
What is next for the company? I know you guys have some retail expansion coming up. What can you tell us about like where we're going to be able to find Skura Style and what else is on the horizon for the brand?
Well, we're going to be in selected stores at Target very soon, and then we're deciding on some other big box retailers. It's just everything and the kitchen sink,
Mhm.
basically. Yeah.
Definitely. My last question for you is as a mother, an actress, a company co owner, you are impacting so many people, but what do you want your legacy to be?
Oh shit. I haven't really thought about it because hopefully by doing right by my family and
Mhm.
working as hard as I can to be the best mom I could be, the best, partner, the best daughter. I kind of like try my best at everything and then let the chips fall as they may,
Mhm.
the legacy chips fall as they may.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for chatting about all this with me today. I really
Thanks,
appreciate you
Alex.
taking the time to
It's
chat.
really fun.